Is your time so empty?
No. Well, I run the office and tend the cabins and grounds and do little errands for my mother. The ones she allows I might be capable of doing.
Do you go out with friends?
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Life,
Only my share.
Where are you going? I didn't mean to pry.
I'm looking for a private island.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, a strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Walter on iWalter on this Friday the 14th, not Friday the 13th, in August 2015. I said I wasn't sure if I was going to do a show because tomorrow I'm actually going to get up early if I can, or at least try to get up to the King of Prussia Mall before I have to go to work, because I need to pick up, I might even take some personal times. I don't have to deal with these damn people at my job. I got to pick up some flash drive and get some stuff done, because I'll be up crack of dawn tomorrow trying to get things done. On Saturday, I got to be up at the crack of dawn to get things done. So, just kind of want to make sure I can avoid any type of conflicts tomorrow. I try to get some work done, that would have been left for me to do today, because it's Friday now. So I just hope that works. I seriously doubt it will, but hey, wishful thinking. You know what? I put up some kind of cool stuff on my Facebook page. One that really not much to mention on this fact, but it was a picture. I guess it's like a teaser. It was on Movie Pilot, actually, and it's basically Stan Lee. I'm going to add him, actually. Stan Lee pointing a gun at not Daredevil. Who is that guy with the red mask that's coming out in a superhero movie? He's really sarcastic. I just lost my spot. It's really funny, though, actually, the picture. So, I actually lost my spot. So anyway, just bear with me for a minute. My machine has to catch up. I tell you, while I'm doing that, work today, I come in and nobody was at our, this is like the change of shift meeting. I'm serious. I'm like such a outcast from this group now. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy. And it's like, there is no maturity, no care in the world by these people. They just think I'm such a horrible person to them. And it's like, you're talking about a job. We're not in school anymore, but I hate beating a dead horse, but it's just, Deadpool, by the way, that's what I was thinking of. It just gets to me that these people are so viciously evil, and it's not me. Because I've been at this job for 13 years, and it's the first time I've ever encountered a group of people who just really just keep their distance from me. They don't even say a word. Very short-tempered. Short-tempered. I'm getting short-tempered. They're just being assholes. So, there's got to be a point that people just say, you know what? Maybe we just, we've been torturing Walter enough. Maybe we should just give up on that. We had our fun with him. We were done, picking on him all the time. We're just going to let him go. But that doesn't seem to faze them that what they're doing is like really rude and actually cruel. Like, it's completely cruel. I don't think their mind frame can think that high, and I can't find any justification for the way they treat me. I honestly can't. I can't find a damn thing. So, I don't know. And it's just like, it seems like anything I say, because I think there's a few people probably at my job that, honestly, they do listen to my show, maybe a few. I don't tell them, I kind of I said it, but I give them a heads up. Listen, hey, what comes on this show is, I'm going to say what I think. It's a podcast. It's not like, regular radio that, hey, you really got to watch. The FCC is watching everything you say. I try to be within, a fair amount. I try to give people a heads up. Listen, you may not want to listen to this. I think a friend told me, he said, well, you're still held accountable for what you say. And he's absolutely right. But again, you got to remember, this is a podcast. I got any given time, maybe 5 people listen to me, sometimes 8. It's not anything that's going to like rock the universe, like knock it off, the earth off its axis. And yeah, I know it can take this one person to really piss off. But you know what? I encounter more people on my radio show than I do in real life. So that's pretty bad because both are very sparse amount of people. So having to worry about everything it's almost like I feel like this show is something that I can't even think to myself because I got to watch what I even think to myself. Like that's how much I like walk on eggshells every time I try to do this show. And it's actually really kind of depressing. Like you can't even think to yourself because if you don't think correctly how other people want you to think, you're a bad person. You have a problem. So, am I like wrong at thinking that hey, I even got to watch not only what I say, but also what I think because I might piss somebody off. Even though I don't say it out loudly, I still got to watch. I mean, that's how bad I think even our society has gotten. And I don't think I'm the only one who's like that. They're even just afraid to even think to themselves because you never know. Because, I mean, you could even be in a room to yourself and say, hey, I'm thinking out loudly to myself in a room, but you always got to be concerned of who's going to walk in there, even though you're the only one in that room at that time. I mean, that's like Brave New World kind of stuff, because you got to worry about, is Big Brother like kind of listening in on me? Because if he is, and I say the wrong thing, this is going to be an issue. Now, it was funny today, though, because this is no joke, but the person I work with, I felt really bad at first. I was truly and sincerely concerned, but she was cleaning a room, her and a new partner she has, and what I do on the cleaning and where my job is. And I honestly was I'm not even making this up, I was really concerned because she said, oh yeah, we had to clean everything. We had to disinfect walls and ceilings, like you have to spray this stuff. And she said, oh yeah, I sprayed it into a light fixture in this room. It's called a suite. And she said, all I seen was a bunch of sparks or something. And then all the power just is basically, there's no power in this one room now. And I said to her, are you all right? Because, that's the first thing you usually generally will think, hey, you're all right? Is the woman in the room with you? Was she all right? And thank God they didn't get killed. But, that's the next thing. You could have, seriously not only hurt yourself, probably even killed yourself. You could have killed the woman in the room with you helping you clean. So, yeah, we have this thing that we have to once in a while just to keep any type of outside pest or, mold, mildew, anything like that. We have to keep it out of the room. So we do what's called, we do this thing that we disinfect everything in the entire room. And it was like, again, she's very lucky. And I've worked cleaning these rooms for... in this particular building It was actually, honestly, almost the first time I've ever done anything like that when I went into the building I work now for the past 3 years. But I never had an issue of basically spraying a light fixture and then almost, causing a short and almost like basically electrical outage. So she said there were sparks, and I'm like thinking to myself, first I was really concerned because that's like human nature. You want to make sure the person's all right, because I found out that when I saw her, she was like, I guess, oh yeah. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. I've done this job for 3 years. I was doing the same thing she was doing. And the last thing I ever had an issue with is basically possibly killing myself in that way. I mean, I've had some, they call them near misses before. But that one, honestly, because my job, there was a person years ago, he got smashed. He worked in some thing that the way they clean, it's with high pressure, like a high pressure chamber for cleaning. And it was in a building I used to work in. My father used to work at this place I work at. He actually helped me get the job. And he was there when that happened, not right where this guy got killed, but he said, oh yeah, this machine they used was under high pressure. The door wasn't sealed right. And the guy literally got smashed. So I don't know if hopefully he didn't feel anything, but he was smashed to death. So yeah, I mean, it's a real issue. Safety. It's something like, unfortunately, I feel bad for some people because they're afraid to mention, hey, there's a safety issue in this room or something, because their big thing is our company, and I'm not even kidding, will find fault in you, and so they can kind of just write it off. They're fixed the problem, but in the process, they're also trying to get you, like, well, okay, how could you have avoided this issue and get you in trouble? So they'd rather see you, they're fixed the problem, they appreciate you bringing the problem forward, but at the same time, they're finding a way to eliminate your job, or eliminate you from the job. So the problem with that is then you got people who are too afraid to say, hey, okay, we have a safety issue here, because they're not going to want to bring it up. Now, this one couldn't be avoided because it's a really big room. It's a large room that we clean, and it's got these big, huge, they look like milk tanks, I guess, like those big, huge their stainless steel tanks. And there is, I'm trying to think, about 5 tanks in this room, and maybe 6, maybe more. And it's divided into 2 halves, so that's only one half of the room, like 2 separate rooms that actually are one room. So the bottom line is, hey, you can work during the day with natural sunlight, but when it starts to get dark out, whoever works on the other shifts cannot be in that room, because there's only there's basically emergency lighting. Who knows how long that's going to last? In case the power goes out, there's a backup generator that has emergency lighting. That's going to go soon. And 2, you just can't work like that, because she basically shorted out the power for the room. And that's going to be a while to fix that. That's going to put us behind, which I really don't care. But the bottom line is, if it was something that happened to me, I guess I would hear about it. So on top of people just being totally rude to me, I now have to deal with this BS. And thank God she didn't get herself or this woman killed that she works with. But she could have probably got themselves both killed, or got both of them killed, just from, and part of it is the bottom line. That part was kind of a little bit of a negligence too. If I worked there for 3 years, I guess that's what I wanted to say. And I haven't had that issue. And they're making me out to be the bad guy. Like, they avoid me, they ostracize me, many of them. And some people wonder, now I work a second shift job. I don't bother to come and try to communicate with anybody, because not that the particular people on second shift are as cruel as the people on day shift that I see for approximately 5 minutes every day. But they are, just to avoid the whole conflict, I just basically hide myself anymore. I don't want to even deal with these people. Like, I'll do some work. I do the work I have to do, but after that, you're not going to see anything of me, so you can't find anything wrong with me. Like, I'm sure other people are thinking, well, you find problems with us. Well, it's like, well, you know what? It's like, who started this anyway? And it doesn't really matter. It's the bottom line is, when it's one person against a group of people, I kind of think that the person who's being ganged up on is the person who's going to be the victim, not the other way around. But they make it out that, we're the victim because of me. It's not the other way around. Anyway, I know my one friend, Matt, he thinks that, Matt, you think that my other friend, Todd, is the one who makes a big issue out of this. And it's about these school teachers having sex with these kids. And honestly, it bothers me more so than it bothers my friend Todd. I'm saying this to my friend Matt because he is one of the, people who actually, he says he faithfully listens to my show, which, trust me, I appreciate it because at least I know one of my listeners. They know where I come from. Matt knows, how I think and react to things. And you know what? You can talk to me until you're blue in the face, but this is just the way I think. I'm not going to change my mind frame. That's just the way I am. So anyway, this story was, I didn't look for it. I actually found it. And yeah, here it was kind of unexpected. It was on this web link on Facebook called The Dreamin' Demon, which I usually go for, and by Christopher Morbid Lee. They're like two separate sites, but by the same guy. And the stories on there usually are really like dark and morbid. Not saying this one can't be, but I mean, I'm talking people slashing people up. Like, it looks like the stories that they usually post are like something straight out of a horror movie, but it's like real life. So I've seen this one. I was like, okay, now, I was surprised to see this one, and it's former teacher Jennifer Coswell gets 10 years in prison for sex with a student on The Dreamin' Demon. And it looks like Hollis, what's OK? Is that Oklahoma? Jennifer Coswell, the former teacher convicted of having asexual relationship with a 15-year-old student, was just handed a 10-year prison sentence in April 2014. And Coswell resigned from her position as an English teacher at Hollis Middle School amid, it looks like allegations. Anyway, I'm sorry for the pause. So, yeah, I looked at it. I really didn't, the point is, though, there was a thing from Dr. Phil. He actually did an interview with a person because he actually mentioned, this is a big issue now. There is so many cases anymore. It's like something you can't even just sweep under the rug or just pretend it's not there anymore. It's really a big issue. So actually, Dr. Phil, it says, this isn't pretty old now. It says, Dr. Phil, Tuesday, May 19th, 2015, teacher scandal confession with her student, full episode. So this was I don't know how long Dr. Phil's on for, but this was like a 2-hour show, and they got little intermissions, but they're like 30, not even 30 seconds, like 15 seconds. So it's like a 2-hour interview with this woman. It says, Dr. Phil on May 19th, 2015. Thank you for watching Dr. Phil, May 19th, 2015. Well, I don't know why they keep on writing the same thing. And I'm serious. I'm just reading as I'm looking at it. On Phil, May 19th show. Basically, but it's a full in-depth interview, and I got so angry by watching this because I could not make up excuses like this woman was to validate why she did what she did. And he kind of played with her a little bit, like he was doing what you call when you take classes to become a psychiatrist. The first thing they're going to teach you or be a counselor is you should reflect back what people are saying to you, because that makes the people feel like, oh yeah, you're listening. Like if I'm trying to use an example. If I'm saying, oh, I had a really bad day, you would reflect back and say, and this is what he did. Oh, so you're saying you had a bad day. So it just kind of reassures it that you're listening to the person, you're not just ignoring them. That's the first thing you learn when I was taking counseling classes. I'm not even kidding. So anyway, he was doing that for about a good hour, and it was really getting irritating, though, because this woman was blaming everyone else around her, even the kid that she had a sexual relationship for. So I actually got, she mentioned in her interview, she said, oh, yeah, I still, I have my Facebook page. And now this was back in May, but they never had taken it down. They never blocked it from her now being, for the rest of her life, she's going to be labeled as a sex offender. It's not even just a temporary thing. It's going to be, permanent on her record. So I looked it up right afterwards. I can't remember her name, but I looked it up, and it showed a picture because she doesn't have any pictures of her, for her husband. She was married, but she filed for a divorce because she wanted that relationship with the 15-year-old. She was like, at the time, I think, 27 when she had this relationship with this guy, and the kid was 15. So Dr. Phil let her go for so long, and then he kind of just basically dug at her. But it looks like her name is Jennifer Coswell. I'm sorry, I did read that. And her web link on Facebook is still up, and I was trying to see if I could get her to add me so I could see more. And her thing was booked, so other people had the same idea I did. Like, hey, let's see if I can get this woman to add me. So anyway, guess who she has a picture up? And she said, oh, I'm over this. This is back in, I forget when I said it was. Okay, May 19th. The affair with this kid had taken place April 2014, so it was like last year. And actually, she might have been 28 because I thought she said she was 29 now. Maybe I'm wrong, but she was. I thought I heard 27 in the interview. I remember correctly. I listened to a little bit of it tonight at work on my break. And, she was trying to justify, I know what I did was wrong, but, this kid, he was 15 and he pushed me and kind of instigated me, and he tried to kiss me, and he asked, well, did you kind of fight back? She said, oh, yeah, a little bit, but then I gave in. And then he called her in a lie, too, during the interview. That's when I had to cut it off because, one, I was getting really angry at first with him. Just like, hearing her out and like kind of being sympathetic. Okay, you had a sex with a 15-year-old. That's okay. That's good. Like he wasn't taking it like the way most people react. He was trying to be empathetic towards her. But then he said, that one, you were the person in authority. You're, a teacher, and two, that you had sex with a minor. There were two offenses there. So she tried to defend herself and say, well, it was his fault, basically. And so many words or less. She was saying it was the kid's fault. So, and then she tried to justify, well, the kid, she said, that's a kid. That's not an adult. And she said, well, I didn't look at him as an adult, but I didn't look at him as a kid because he was like 6 foot tall. So she tried to justify why it was okay to have sex with the kid. Then she said that, I had sex with him after I resigned from the school because she ended up resigning. So he called her a lie because she was kind of waffling around with her statements. And at one point, she actually did state that, I was still a school teacher the first time we ever had sex. So he said, well, wait a minute. You said you didn't have sex the first time until after you resigned. That's the way she started out by saying. And then she didn't realize she kind of got caught in her own lies. And I think that's what really set him off. But again, it's a 2-hour interview. For people who are interested, you could actually see it on the Dreamin' Demon, and then that'll take you to the link for the interview on YouTube from Dr. Phil. You could probably just go directly to YouTube. But it's ridiculous. But anyway, the bottom line is she doesn't have any pictures besides she has a son. She has a picture of her son. And she also has a picture of her, the guy she fooled around with, the 15-year-old, on her website with herself. So, and she also tried to blame her husband for this whole situation. She said, I got really angry, which really pissed off Dr. Phil. She said, I got really angry with my husband because he tried to break up the relationship between me and the 15-year-old. And I'm like thinking to myself, and he got mad too, Dr. Phil. He says, you know that what you're doing is it's basically you're breaking the law in almost all 50 states. So she didn't kind of get a clue. And then she said, oh, I know what I did was wrong. But she was trying to blame the kid. She was blaming her husband. She was blaming her husband that, oh, you're trying to break up the relationship between me and my boyfriend. You're a married woman, and you're complaining about that your husband's trying to get between you and your boyfriend, who's a 15-year-old, and you're a 27-year-old woman with a kid. So it just got so aggravated, and people don't seem to understand why I get so flustered by this. Because I'm like, for one thing, I mean, yeah, I do take it personal because I'm a single guy. I don't come off standoffish like this kid did, which, yes, then I'm taking her side. And I don't have any spouse to cheat on. Like, by now, most people my age have grandchildren almost on today's times. I never even had a freaking girlfriend, but I get these accusations and glares and looks that I'm some type of wacko or some type of sexual deviant nutcase. And it's like, but I'm the one who's been single almost all my life, and I'm not the one doing these really outlandish things. You people are, not me. I'm making a general statement here, just to let you know. So, but it seems like she tried to justify what she did. There was nothing really wrong with that. People just don't understand her, and they're making her out to be some type of sicko. And it's like, well, I hate to tell you, you kind of are. So they're not trying to just make that statement that's not true. It is a true statement. So, yes, you should have the scarlet letter on your chest for the rest of your life, lady. So anyway, you can see that article. It just kind of bothered me a lot, obviously. And it's not my friend Todd. It's actually me who gets really bothered by these people. And why does it bother me? Because I try to make friends with people. I do try to meet women. I don't have anything against, because hey, don't ask me why, but I've gone to these things. He's here somewhere. Sharon Needles. I would love to go to that. It's on a Friday night, though, or Thursday night. I ought to take another day. And why am I mentioning him? Because he's a drag queen. And I love going to that stuff. I get a kick out of, like, talking to these guys that are drag queens or homosexuals. I don't have a problem with that. I act like I do, but I really do not. The things I really have problems with are people that, men or women who commit adultery and act like I'm the person who's the bad guy. That bothers me. And women who get offended by me, and I am saying women who get offended by me like I'm some type of, sicko, and it's like, wait a minute. Most of the time, these women have skeletons in their closets that, like, pinpoint me out as being the bad guy. Because, I mean, I've had friends that are females, and they know me better than that. But, for me to be pointed out as I'm the one who has the problem when you're the one, and I hear about it, like I work up in Lansdale, and I don't know how many times I've heard cases, and I've mentioned cases from around the area of Norristown and stuff, that these women who looked at me like I have a severe sexual problem are women that end up getting themselves in a lot of trouble. One that, like I mentioned before, previously on a previous show, got herself actually not only murdered, but she actually got herself butchered up. Other ones who have gotten, beaten up, abused, and everything like that. And they seem to be attracted to these men over and over again, but then they look at me that I'm the one who has a real problem. And it's like, well, don't you notice that you're the person with the problem? The people you seek out for relationships are the people with the problems, that it actually is not me, but you don't seem to see that. So I don't understand that. Anyway, okay, I'll let that story go, but trust me, it won't be the last time that I'll be complaining about that. So I'm just giving you a heads up. On a lighter note, I'm just going to go through my things because it's getting late really fast, quickly, because it's now like 3:22 my time. in the U.S. Because I got some people from overseas, I have to say that. Anyway, on a lighter note, there was a story on CNET.com. I was almost going to say .net, but it's .com. And it says, retail video game industry begins bidding farewell to Xbox 360 and PS3. Sales on older game hardware plummeted yet again, but the game industry is ready to move on. So it's kind of an interesting. I did read a little bit earlier, just like saying the sales were down almost. Well, it said 56% for the 360. But you know what? You got these newer consoles; they're not that expensive. Unfortunately, the only thing I have an issue with, which I haven't checked lately, is I'd really like to see the Xbox One be backwards compatible with certain games from the 360, which I would love to play. I don't know how long it takes, because I think eventually they will port more games, because they have to like actually make the games work in an emulator for the Xbox. That's the only way Microsoft can get this stuff to work. They did that before, actually. I think PlayStation may have done the same thing. They made this emulator, so, and it allows you, like, you're running a virtual machine. It's ran through software, a virtual machine for older games. That's actually, you don't see it. It's in your in the software for your OS. And once you put the game in, it's just going to see it as being an emulated. It's like, okay, this game is not designed for the new generation, it's designed for the old generation. So I'm kind of waiting for that. If you're interested in that article, again, it was on CNET.com, and it was basically about, like, I guess the older consoles are actually lived their life now. They're going to kind of cut the ties, I assume. So, anyway, I saw this picture of this girl. She actually looked kind of attractive, and it was like, wow. And then I seen Miley's name, because I love Miley Cyrus, the old Miley Cyrus. I can't deal with the new one. But I really loved old Miley Cyrus, and I'd like to see her come back someday. Hopefully she'll get this out of her system. So there was an article in the Daily Mail. I kind of like looked through it, and it was like, you know what, I can't read this any longer, because I loved her in certain movies she played in, Miley. Like, I bought all her movies that she was in. She was in a handful of movies, believe it or not, and I really enjoyed them, but when she changed her look, I tried to deal with it for a while and say, you know what, I'm not gonna be somebody who's gonna jump ship on Miley Cyrus, because she was definitely entertaining as a kid. But then I got to the point, it was like, you know what, I can't deal with her anymore. So she is just, too wild for what I would even, try to just overlook. And I actually did sell at a loss my ticket that time when I was supposed to go see her. I mentioned this before, too, in Philadelphia. Because I couldn't deal with that whole hip-hop look she gave herself. Because I really like her voice. I'm one of the few that will admit to that. Anyway, the story was titled, "I Was Told What a Girl's Supposed to Be. Miley Cyrus reveals playing Hannah Montana gave her a body image issue." And it's like, how can I give you a body image issue? I mean, I thought it was a really clever show for many reasons, because it kind of reminded me of the premise with her dad, reminded me of the Beverly Hillbillies, because she had that accent. And I miss her dark hair. She's still got that blonde hair, which is not her at all. Yeah, she did that on Hannah Montana, but that was a wig. I mean, if she really truly accepts herself now than she did at age 22 than she did when she was a little kid or, a teenager, let your hair grow out and just act like, the person you used to be, not this person you made yourself into, which I don't believe that's really her either. I'll read a little bit, but it says from the time that she was 11, she was basically a pop star even from then. That means, because she played Hannah Montana, had the blonde wig and having long hair and put on some glittery tights and stuff like that. But she's claiming now that wasn't her, that was Disney, but I don't know. I think I don't know why she is so rebellious. You know, I think if she actually didn't go off the deep end like she did, she probably would have, like, you know, obviously she would have been very successful. I'll tell you that much. I would have still continued to buy her stuff, and I would still listen to her. Because, you know what? If I could get Miley Cyrus to listen to this show, which I know I never will, I can't even get people that I know to listen to this, minus my one friend Matt. I would tell her, listen, you know what? You were a big influence to me. For, you know, a younger person, you know, you gave me some influence to, like, take up music lessons, because, like, I heard her and was like, yeah, I actually went as far as looking for her music coach. I called her music coach and said, yeah, I was kind of interested, you know, do things like, I literally did. I did call and I did talk to the woman one-on-one. I'm not even joking about that. And because I think she put out some demonstration video, her music teacher, and I asked her about it. I, like, was on the phone with her one time. I mean, because Miley was actually, she's not from California originally. She's from, like, what? I want to say Texas or Tennessee, something like that. I forget. And, yeah, I was talking to the woman for a while, and then I, like, decided, well, you know what, maybe this is not going to be enough for me, so I end up taking, you know, voice lessons locally. I found a place that did local voice lessons. But you know what? I got influenced by watching Hannah Montana and, you know, seeing Miley Cyrus. It was like she really was a big influence for a little kid. It was just all that energy she had. It was like it gave me something to look forward to, and the show actually made me laugh. So there's nothing wrong with finding humor in any show. I don't care what people think. They can say, oh, that's a kid's show. But I hate to tell you, there was a lot of people that were like senior citizens, or as Rush would call them, seasoned citizens, that would actually watch that show and be just as dedicated to watching Hannah Montana as I was. So it's not just because, you know, you can't say, well, it is a kid show. I understand that. But you know what? A lot of senior citizens rather watch kid shows because they're a lot less offensive than adult shows that are very offensive. That was the same with me. So anyway, that was my thing on Miley Cyrus. There was something on iHorror. It is called iHorror, by the way, like iWalter.com. And they were saying, like, if they would make, they've been pondering for years about making a remake of Pet Sematary. But it's like, you know what? You've remade every freaking movie out there under the sun. Now they're talking about, like, oh, yeah, this has been pondered, I guess, out in Hollywood for years. And it was basically saying, well, Pet Sematary, a Pet Sematary remake would be 10 times scarier than the original. But you know what? Out of all of Stephen King's horror movies, at least, I would have to say that Pet Sematary was the only one that actually kept my attention. Well, actually, let me take that back, because I have to put Carrie in there. And Christine. So, yeah, I think out of the most interesting films that shouldn't be touched that were made into films from Stephen King's, you know, books, I'd have to say probably Pet Sematary, Carrie, and what was the other one I just mentioned? I'm not going to say The Shining because I really did not like that. Was that him anyway? But yeah, Pet Sematary. Christine and Carrie were probably his most interesting films. I'm not going to say they were great, but they were definitely interesting. So the other ones I could care less. All right, I'm just going to go in line of my stories because that way I can cut it short. And I do got to get up at a decent time. The Dreamin' Demon had a story, and it's like this guy, this Asian guy, it's from Tokyo, accused of cutting off a man's penis with pruning shears, flushing the genital down the toilet of the guy he cut it off. They said police have arrested a 24-year-old, I can't pronounce his name, I'm not going to pretend I can. This 24-year-old guy, after he allegedly used a pair of garden shears to cut off the man's penis before flushing it down the toilet. Well, the reason for that was, by the way, is because this guy who had the shears found out that his wife was cheating on him. I think it's the same one. According to reports, This guy was angry over his wife having an affair with a 42-year-old victim, so he busted into the man's law office where his wife also worked. She was present when her husband, a former boxer, proceeded to punch the victim several times in the face. Once the man was on the ground and nearly unconscious, this guy pulled down the man's pants and used a garden tool to shear off his penis. And then to add insult to injury, he reportedly flushed it down the man's penis down the toilet. So, yeah. Here is a story I read. It was on BI for Business Insiders. I'm looking at the Twitter's one. I'm going to see. I got it from a different source. It was actually because I fired up my my Microsoft Surface tonight, and it was a story on the top. But it was on International Business Times. And it says immigration in the U.S. For 2015 reaches a new record with immigration populations of over 42.1 million people, studies find. So, there's 42.1 million immigrants, and most of them probably are illegal. And now, you know what's like, we want to use that phrase, insult to injury. Well, I guess it's not the appropriate way to use it, but it's kind of funny, but yet we got 93 million people that are unemployed. So, you know what probably makes up part of most of that 93 million, I hate to tell you, are probably these new immigrants in this freaking country that are not paying any taxes. I wouldn't doubt it, because what's drawn this high demand for people that want to come to our country? Well, they're getting everything for free. So, does that make sense or what? The immigration population in the United States hit a record high once again of 42.1 million in the second quarter of this year. An analysis of monthly Census Bureau data by the Center for Immigration Studies released Thursday has revealed the number of immigrants rose from 1.7 million since the same time last year. Immigrants currently comprise 13.3% of the national total population, reaching the highest level in the nation for in 105 years. So basically, there's been a large increase just within the last quarter of this year. Here we go. I'm just saying that. I'm probably speaking too soon. Illegal immigration came up in the presidential debate, but there has been little discussion of the level of immigration. This is at a time when total immigration is surging according to the latest data. But I'm telling you, most of it's illegal immigration. Latest data said that Stephen Camarado, co-author of the report in the Center's Director of Research, in a statement. Anyway, it says that immigration has become a heated issue on the presidential campaign trail, with the Republicans offering pointed criticism on the nation's acceptance of undocumented immigrants. So you don't even call them illegals. You got to call them undocumented to be politically correct. While much of this discussion has surrounded immigrants from Mexico, migration to the United States for its southern neighbors dropped 17.7% from 2010 through 2013. Data from the Department of Homeland Security shows, as Forbes reported. Now, I seriously doubt that, though, because I'm telling you, within the last few years, Norristown has just had an explosion of South Americans. I'm sorry. And none of them really speak any proper English or any English at all. Even when they converse amongst each other in the public, they don't know how to speak English. So if you were actually some type of alien on a visa, or somebody going to become a legal citizen, one of the things I think you would have to know is how to speak English. Well, they don't. The number of immigrants arriving from Asia My page just reset itself. I gotta find myself now. From Asia, roughly equals the number from the other countries in North, South, and Central America, Forbes reported. But the new study by the Center for Immigration Studies suggests that the number of Latin American immigrants may be rebounding in the past year. I seriously doubt it. I always question where I read because this was off of MSN, so you know what that means. The rapid growth in the immigrant population was foreseeable given the cutbacks and enforcement, our expensive, less legal immigration system, and the improvement in the economy, Camarda claimed in the statement. I apologize. I really can't say his name right. I'll admit to that now. Immigrant populations have increasingly moved beyond traditional high-density coastal cities like New York City and Los Angeles, with the highest immigrant population growth coming in the heartland cities and the South. Well, what does that tell you if it's coming from the South? Pittsburgh ranks first for the pace of growth, with a 17.4% jump in foreign population from 2010 to 2013. 4 times the national rate. Now, that's the one thing, though. If you look at most of these cities that they're talking about, especially in Pittsburgh, they're all Hispanic, and yet they're saying that the population of Hispanics has dropped. So this story actually is a contradiction within itself. So I'm going to take that story with a grain of salt. I am sorry, but I have to. I'm just going to read highlights because it's getting really late. There was something I put on my Facebook from BloodyDisgusting.com. I have read this before, and it's about Wesley Snipes talks about Blade hints a new character. I guess he's talking about maybe not only making a new film, but obviously going to bring in new characters. I would assume this is what it's about. Wesley Snipes is saying there's talks for a return of the Vampire Hunter Blade, although a new separate character might be in the works. I don't know. This was pretty funny. It was on Daily Mail. I don't know if I really want to pull it up. It was just funny, the title at least. Basically, if I can get this low. Man caught by classmate watching porn after he forgets to plug in his headphones. The student has been sitting in a lecture hall at a university believed to be in Sydney, Sydney, Australia, with his headphones in as he appeared to be engaging in the lesson while typing, but actually he got caught because he didn't plug his headphones in correctly. He was actually watching a porn during the lecture. That's pretty funny. If you're interested, just look at my Facebook page. These are just going to be strictly highlights because I'm not interested otherwise. It looked pretty cool. CNET.com. Here is the 7 most important things announced at Samsung's Unpacked CNET. Samsung held a short and sweet press conference to offer details on new gear. Here are the highlights. And it looks like, I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was an antenna. But with their new phone from Samsung, they're actually got a compartment for a stylus, I think. Because I did read part of the article. I didn't read the whole thing. There was another one from CNET. For some reason, they had some pretty cool articles. It was basically an article on a smartphone charging jeans. Put a battery over your butt. So, yeah, it was a compartment to put a battery, built into your blue jeans so you can, basically charge your smartphone. That was pretty funny. It actually says, juice up your smartphone with a special pair of designer denims built with charging pocket right above the rump. And it's got a picture. You know what? Usually I'm pretty negative against these freaking people that are dog lovers that have these vicious dogs. But this one was so horrible. This poor mutt or it was a pit bull, a female pit bull. This poor thing looks so hideous, but she seems really happy because she was not only severely abused. It looked like one of her legs might have been like that. She can barely walk on her one leg, but her mouth is all like screwed up. So you can find that one. It was on the Daily Mail, but it says abused pit bull with only half a face is loving her new life. So more power to this poor dog, but this dog's face is mangled up, and she's got like half her face is missing, and her teeth are all like totally screwed up. It says the 2-year-old pit bull mix with some mix was found abandoned on an Orlando, Florida lawn. She was missing her nose, nostrils, and sinus cavity, making her long front teeth hang out like tusk. That's what it looks like. It looks like tusk. I try to watch the video, but it was very disturbing. Like, the dog looks like she's really happy. But, I mean, I just, I would almost like feel like, well, hey, as long as she's contented with her new owner, I just felt so bad. I was like, you almost have to, I felt like compelled, like this dog needs to be put to sleep. It's just like horrible how she looks. But she seems happy, so that's the most important thing. Yeah, the rest you can read. It's on the Daily Mail. I would say the dog looks cute, but the poor thing just looks like, I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but she looks like something out of a horror movie. But hey, she's happy now. I mean, that guy's got a heart of gold to take in that dog and take care of it. She's got somebody who loves her, so that's what's important. Yeah, this caught my eye because I couldn't figure out who it was, and now I can't remember again. But, these celebrities who got like ultra fat. And it was on bodyagain.com. 10 celebrities who went from fit to fat. 10 celebrities who went from fit to fat. Rory Berger, July 9th, 2015. Fitness nutritionist. No surprise that many of these celebrities lack self-control, with many temptations surrounding them almost any given moment, and the false notion of immortality that get them from, I guess, basically fat to fit. They had Britney Spears, but there was one that actually caught my attention. That's why I looked at it, because she wasn't on the top. I don't think Britney Spears is out of shape now, though. At one point, she did let herself. I mean, she went through some really wacky times. I'm trying to get this thing to load because I can't remember who it was. It kind of caught my attention. So continue reading. Okay. Yeah, most of these I've seen before, so it didn't catch my attention. They're basically too obvious. But one honestly did not surprise me, and now it's not loading. So let's see if I can get this to work. I had it earlier. All right, it's not going to load. Unfortunately, but because I can't remember her name, and it loaded earlier. That's the sad thing. Now I can't get it to load at all. So I'm gonna try to. If it doesn't load, I'll just have to go back and I'll figure it out how to do a back thing. So yeah, just be patient with iWalter, and I'm going to try. It's just the one that really caught my attention. Okay, I think I cleared up my thing. Well, there was Kelly Clarkson. I think she was the one, but no, here's the one that caught my attention was Hillary Duff. She kind of was really thin, I guess because she was at kids, was it Disney or something? And she got really chunky. And that was the one that kind of surprised, got me off guard. So that was the thing that got my attention to read this article in the first place. So yeah, I know it's just stupid stuff, but hey, it's a talk show. I don't think personally people like Stern really talk about anything that much more incredible than probably what I'm talking about. The only difference is that he actually gets real people and celebrities. But my stuff is more the stupid stuff about my personal life. So, anyway, yeah, that caught my attention. Yeah, there was an article because they're going to be remaking apparently Nightmare on Elm Street, and there was an article on iHorror.com. Exclusive Elm Street makeup artist talks what went wrong with the remake of Freddy Krueger's makeup. It did look pretty bad, I guess. It didn't really seem have the same entertaining fact that Robert Englund had. So, and there was an article. I'm just going to just give you a little bit, and if you're interested, look it up on my Facebook page. The jaws from the huge tiger shark caught on Australia's east coast, which I did mention the other day. The strange story behind 6 new Star Wars characters' names. I already talked about the Pet Cemetery thing. This one, yeah, Pet Cemetery will be made 10 times scarier. I already mentioned that. So there's not much more to go by, and there's always they're really pushing this now. Jason Voorhees, who played him best, because the new movie coming out next year, I assume, and then the series is actually gonna come to grips, I think, soon too. But this one article is on iHorror.com. 9 actors who portray Jason in the Friday the 13th stories, which begs the question: who will play Voorhees best? iHorror sets about settling this issue. Well, you know who I like, probably. And I actually don't see his face on any of these characters. Was, oh, God. Because he's been in Adam Green's films. I'm going to have to look him up, because I can't believe I forgot. And I got his autograph more than once. Jeez. So, because the one was really popular. Here he is. Kane Hodder. That's the one I actually liked the best, personally. It was Kane Hodder. Ari Lehman was actually the one who played the boy. Derek Myers or something, or Mers. He's the guy. He actually played in a new Jason Voorhees. He was actually in Adam Green's TV show. He's a decent looking guy, but he has a shaved head. He's funny. Ken Kurtzingler, he was one of the Jasons. Richard Brooker, C.J. Graham. These are all people that played Jason Voorhees. Warrington Gillette, which actually one of these guys, I think it was C.J. Graham, was actually at the convention. I had no clue he actually was one of the Jason Voorhees. Tom Moraga, Dick Winland, or something like that. I should know these names. And Tim, it looks like Merkovich. Something, yeah, like Merkovich. But yeah, honestly, the one Jason I liked the best, personally, was Kane Hodder, because he's the one that actually stuck in my mind the most. Yeah, they're missing somebody, though, I think, because I got the autograph of one of the other Jasons, but I don't see him. He was actually in Friday the 13th Part 2, the one I'm thinking of. Let me see if I can find him. Jason, actor. Friday the 13th, Part 2. Huh. Yeah, I can't find his name. So anyway, and it was funny, yeah. Actually, they say that was Warrington Gillette, but that was Part 2, because he retired now from like show business or doing any stunt work. But there was actually, it looks like they said there was 9 different actors who played Jason Voorhees. So, but I like Kane Hodder the best. So it was funny tonight, because in case he listens, a guy I work with named Romeo, he was asking me about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was like, dude, that's like my favorite show of all times. So I got to slip a little plug in there for Buffy, because Sarah Michelle Gellar, as she likes to call herself, I call her Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's like one of my top favorite actresses of all times. I'm not even kidding. Because she was supposed to do. I told Guy Romeo at work. I said she was supposed to actually be doing. She was supposed to. It was a rumor, but she was supposed to do this quirky version of Alice in Wonderland. It was called Alice, based upon the video game, and the video game was basically that Alice goes nutso. She goes crazy, and she ends up trying to go back to Wonderland, but she ends up going psychotic. That's what happens in the game. I played the game for a bit of time, and then I got stuck with it. And, she goes back and she just goes on a killing spree. So it was like, yeah, we're going to make this video game into a movie, like a real horror movie, because it was a video game that was pure horror. And they wanted to take Sarah Michelle Gellar as doing the part, and it never happened, though. And it was like, well, you know what? I'd be the first one in line to see it if she would have changed her mind, because I love her in her science fiction and horror movies. She is just like, if I see her name, I told this, friend at work, I said to him, I also really loved her in her other movies as well. Like, she was excellent in Cruel Intentions. She was superb. Like, that was, I didn't even know. That was like a nice, unexpected thing, because I didn't realize I never watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I got that because I was watching Jennifer Love Hewitt in Ghost Whisperer, and it was like, wait a minute. What do you call it in her? Jennifer, my woman. Ooh, Betty Page. Sorry, I just seen a picture of Betty Page. Sarah Michelle Gellar, and it was like, no, this is actually even better now. So the only things I didn't like Sarah Michelle Gellar in is with her husband in that movie of those movies, I should say, of Scooby-Doo. I couldn't stand those. I'm sorry, I just could not stand those whatsoever. And I'm like a big fan. Like, anything that you put Sarah Michelle Gellar in, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be like the first in line pushing people over to get there, because I love her that much. But that was like, there were movies I could not stomach whatsoever, and I really like her. Now that I said that, I'll probably have to see them, because she was in most of those movies, I think. Those Scooby-Doo's in, they were horrible. Anyway, I've been babbling on long enough, and I know I'm not going to go to bed till 5 at this point, so everyone have a good morning, because I really want to get to bed before the sun comes up. Because I definitely will not be on tomorrow night. I'll tell you that much right now. So you're going to have a break from Walter, the iWalter show. So have a good one, because I have a double concert, and I have a horror Penhurst tour to go on Saturday morning. So I need my sleep. But anyway, everyone, have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed my show. I apologize for just babbling on.